I've always loved 3D. You know, people don't know is, and if you watch the second half of Dusk Till Dawn, I originally wanted to shoot the second half in Dusk Till Dawn in 3D, so that once you got into the bar, you put on the glasses. I was always trying to think of something fun to add to a movie experience, and it's still framed that way. If you watch the movie, everything, you know, the arrow coming out of the guns, and Clooney's always got the gun in the camera, and the head's rolling into the camera. I still, it's now something that could be made stereoscopic, and I might do that because that was the original intention. But when I saw what the cameras were still the old ass 65 millimeter double barrel gigantic things. I knew I wouldn't be able to do the kind of shots that I normally do to get that stuff shot quickly. So when it came time to do Spy Kids 3D, I had this idea of, I loved Jaws 3D, you know, Friday the 13th 3D was one of my favorite movies. When you see it in 3D, here at the Draft House, they showed it one night with the polarized glasses, and that's my favorite movie I've ever seen. It worked so well, the 3D in that. And it was just basically locked off cameras and arrows and shit flying into people's heads. And so I thought, I'm gonna do that with Spy Kids 3D and bring back 3D. And I didn't know how I was going to do it. I was just going to strap 2 HD cameras close together and then with a computer try to shove the images closer together. I don't know. And then I heard Jim was doing the same thing. He made a fusion camera that had the lenses close. And I told him what my idea was. He goes, that wasn't going to work. Here, borrow my camera. So I used his camera setup and shot Spy Kids 3D and then shot Shark Boy and Lava Girl. And I love it. I think it's cool. I think for horror films, it's a good.
I think 3D is cool. I think I saw Freddy's Dead at my birthday party when I was in like 8th grade. It was awesome. But I will say that I think this is my personal thing, but in Avatar, the 3D was cooler than the movie. And I think that's kind of a bummer. Like I think as long that's not what I meant. But but I think like you got to wonder when the technology comes first. Is that like good or bad for movies sometimes? That's my only concern with it. But other than that, it's awesome.
I think I'm not going to choose a movie based on whether it's 3D or not. I'm not, if I'm going to go to the cinema and see something, and it's just going to be based on the movie. And if it's in 3D, then great. That's an extra D.
The night that Up opened, I had literally was standing in the here's 2D Up and here's 3D Up, and I just walked into 2D because it's just I want to watch a film.
That's because it costs $15.
Yeah, true. I'm cheap too. Yeah.
I think that it's I think that's a great tool. And like all great tools, in the hands of somebody brilliant, it will come out well, and in the hands of an idiot, it will not. And
if you have the chance to see a Pixar movie in 3D or in 2D, go see the 3D one, because they're going to do a fantastic job. And those movies are all about transporting you somewhere, and that really takes it that extra step of becoming part of that universe. And you're going to see it in 2D and all the other, and then any other time you see it again, and to see it on the big screen, you get to see a 3D experience. People put a lot of work into it like that. You know, they actually did the work, and it's not the ambulance chaser types that just did a quick dimensionalization to get it out there quick. You know, see those that they actually embraced the technology and wanted to do something with it.
And when I look at Zombieland, I think about some of the cool shots that I'm proud of in the movie. I think about how much cooler they would have been if they'd been in 3D. For example, the woman flying through the windshield. I mean, that's like the best example, but I can only imagine how cool that would look in 3D, or some of the splatter or gore or whatever, you know, without
being Emma Stone in 3D.
Yeah, but without being gratuitous. I mean, I think it's just a cool way to make it more entertaining, and I think Zombieland, what it's best at is just being pure entertainment, and I feel like 3D has that component of just having, like, in a way of, you know, like a ride at an amusement park or something like that. It's just a form of entertainment, and to me it enhances the entertainment value, especially with the movie, with the tone of Zombieland. But I've been going to all these 3D kind of like, you know, the guys who did Avatar, they have something, and now Sony has something, and when I watch their demos and things like that, I get so fired up. I think it looks amazing. So I'm excited to make Zombieland 2 in 3D, and I think it'll really hopefully enhance it, and we're writing it with 3D in mind, and I took the writers to the 3D workshop, and like we're really going to try and make it something that's intentional, as opposed to, as you described, some of the movies where it's just like another component to market or a way to make more money at the box office. For us, we really want to make it something that just elevates the entertainment value of the film.
I've just been fortunate enough to know Jim Cameron since I first came to Hollywood, and when I went and showed him my print of Desperado, I took it to Lightstorm. And while he was watching that, he said, "Hey, you go sit in the lobby and you can read a couple of my treatments." I was like, "Really? Oh, cool." So one was Spider-Man and one was Avatar. And he's been working on it forever. And I've seen all the different versions of it as it went. And when it came time to do the 3D, I had just done, you know, my Spy Kids movie where you don't have the glasses on the whole time. It tells you when to put the glasses on when you get inside the video game, because then you get immersed in the world. And it was just a great thrill to see people all at once putting glasses on when it says glasses on, glasses off, glasses on. And I asked him how he was going to do his movie, because it wasn't really needed 3D for the first part. And he said, oh, I'm going to have a very limited 3D at the beginning, and then once you're in the world, it's going to expand. And I didn't see the movie right away. It took me about a week to see it, but I kept hearing from people saying, yeah, for the first 20 minutes, it was kind of odd. I didn't really get it. And then somewhere around 20 minutes into it, somehow you just love the characters and you're in the world. And I thought, I wonder if that's the point where it does the spatial. I'm going to go time it and see if that's where the second act kicks in, and that's where he did that. So I'm watching the movie, and you watch it, and I'm always pulling my glasses on and off to see what the intraocular distance is and to see where it's sitting. And it's a very limited 3D for the first 20 minutes, but then once he becomes the avatar, it goes poof, and the whole world splits like that. And that's why you as an audience feel sucked into it. And that's the brilliance of Jim Cameron, really, you know, figuring out how to get you into that world and make you feel like you're now glued to the screen by using the technology, thinking about it, and really figuring it out.
For me, I think it comes down to the kind of movie that it is too. I mean, exactly what Robert was saying. The thing about 3D, when it's done really well, it makes the experience even more immersive. And for a certain kind of movie, it's something that has sort of spectacle and a kind of something that brings you into that kind of world. To be able to feel it all around you, I think is, especially now that it's gotten, I mean, I have to say, the 3D in Avatar is amazing. And you do truly feel immersed. And maybe I wouldn't want to see that if I were seeing, you know, the new whatever drama that was, you know, there's something about, my fear, I think, with 3D is, will it be distracting? Will it be the kind of thing, I mean, there's the kind of thing you're talking about where it's fun to play with the audience, and that's kind of the point of the experience. So you want them to throw something at your face. That's the joy of it. That's the communal experience. But if it's something that's meant to be sort of more understated, will it be distracting? And it's going to be interesting now to see how, as it's embraced more and more, how that affects the content of movies too. Because for Avatar, it's exactly the right kind of thing for that movie, because it's meant to be immersive. And for the films that you guys are talking about, it'll be interesting to see how that affects other genres. What does it mean in a drama to be able to reach out and touch someone's nose? It's a huge nose. Like, I don't know. But I think it really depends on the film and the content. And it can be kind of amazing, I think.